The rain was merciless that afternoon, turning the city streets into rivers of rushing water and reflections of blurred headlights. Amid the chaos of honking horns and umbrellas battling the storm, one man ran, not because he was late, but because someone needed help. Jacob Wells, a single dad and office maintenance worker, spotted her collapse by the curb as papers scattered into the downpour. She was dressed in a sharp beige coat, the kind that whispered money and power. Without thinking twice, Jacob dropped his toolbox, splashed through the puddles, and knelt beside her. "Hey ma'am, can you hear me?" His voice was steady, but his heart pounded. The woman's eyes fluttered open in confusion, her breathing shallow. Jacob shielded her from the rain with his jacket, lifting her gently as cars slowed, horns blaring that he flagged a cab, ignoring the soaking rain and the growing ache in his knees. "Hospital, quick," he told the driver. The woman's head rested against his arm, and for a brief second, he saw the faint gratitude in her eyes before she lost consciousness again. He stayed until she was stable, filling out forms, explaining what happened. When the nurses finally assured him she'd be fine, Jacob realized how late it was. He'd missed his shift. Again, before we continue, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of doing what's right even when it costs you everything, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Journal. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that need them. When Jacob returned to the office building, drenched and exhausted, the fluorescent lights seemed harsher than usual. His supervisor, Martin Keene, stood waiting by the front desk with crossed arms and a smirk. Well, look who decided to show up. Late again, Wells." Jacob tried to explain, voice calm but trembling from the cold. "There was an emergency. Someone collapsed on the street. I couldn't just walk away." Martin scoffed. "You think this is a charity? We have schedules for a reason." He turned to the gathered employees who watched like vultures. "You're fired, Jacob. Pack your things." Laughter rippled through the lobby. Low, cruel chuckles from people too afraid to speak up for him. Jacob's face burned with humiliation, but he stood tall. "All I did was help someone," he muttered. "Maybe that's something this place forgot how to do." He left with his small box of belongings, the weight of the world pressing on his shoulders. His daughter, Ellie, was only 8, and every paycheck mattered. Rent, food, her school uniform, everything depended on him. That night, as thunder rolled outside their small apartment, Ellie drew pictures at the table. "It's okay, Daddy," she said softly. "You always say doing the right thing matters more than what people think." Jacob smiled weakly. "I do, sweetheart. I just hope the world believes it too." Days turned into weeks. Job applications went unanswered. Bills piled up. Jacob fixed broken fences, cleaned neighbors' gutters, and sold old tools to make ends meet. Yet every night, when Ellie hugged him, he whispered, "We'll be okay." Then, one morning, a sleek black car stopped in front of their building. A man in a suit stepped out and asked, "Mr. Jacob Wells?" Jacob hesitated, wiping his hands on his worn jeans. "Yes." The man handed him an envelope. "You're requested to come to this address tomorrow morning. It's regarding employment." Confused but hopeful, Jacob read the gold embossed card, Wellington Group Headquarters. The same corporate name that had fired him weeks ago. The next morning, Jacob arrived wearing his cleanest shirt, heart pounding. The marble floors and glass walls gleamed as if nothing in this world could touch their perfection. A receptionist guided him to the top floor, where a spacious office overlooked the city skyline. Inside, the same woman he'd rescued that stormy day sat behind the desk. Her smile was warm, her eyes familiar. "Mr. Wells," she said softly. "It's good to see you again." Jacob blinked. "You're the woman from the street?" "Yes," she nodded, standing. "My name is Elena Carter. I'm the CEO of Wellington Group." His breath caught. The billionaire CEO. The woman his act of kindness had nearly cost him everything for. Elena gestured for him to sit. "When I collapsed that day, I was on my way to finalize a major deal. My blood sugar dropped, and I blacked out. Dozens of people passed me by, but you stopped. You gave me your coat. You rode with me to the hospital. You lost your job because of it." Her voice trembled slightly. "I didn't even know your name until I reviewed the security footage from that day." Jacob swallowed hard, unsure what to say. Elena continued, "I also reviewed your employment file. Loyal, hardworking, always early, except that one day. And do you know what I found out about your supervisor, Martin Keene? He's been exploiting staff hours, taking bonuses that weren't his. He laughed when he fired you. She took a deep breath. He doesn't work here anymore. Jacob stared, stunned. I didn't expect. I just did what anyone should do. Elena smiled faintly. That's the thing, Mr. Wells. Most people don't. And the world needs more people who do. She handed him a letter. I'd like you to come back, but not as maintenance staff. I'm starting a new community outreach division, helping employees in crisis, funding families who need support. I want you to lead it. Jacob's throat tightened. Ma'am, I don't have the education for something like that. She shook her head. You have something better, heart. You understand what it means to care. That's what this company's been missing. Tears filled Jacob's eyes as he thought of Ellie, of the nights they'd spent wondering what tomorrow would bring. He nodded slowly. Thank you, Miss Carter. I won't let you down. From that day forward, the Wellington group changed. The same employees who had laughed now volunteered at food drives and family shelters. Under Jacob's leadership, the outreach program grew, helping hundreds of struggling parents and single workers. He became a quiet symbol of integrity, a man who proved that true power lies not in titles, but in compassion. Months later, during a company gala, Elena introduced Jacob on stage. This man reminded me of something we all forget, she said to the audience of suits and millionaires. That humanity cannot be bought, only shared. Applause thundered through the hall as Jacob stood there, humbled and grateful. That night, he returned home to Ellie, who had fallen asleep on the couch with a drawing in her hand. It showed her father holding hands with a woman under a rainy sky. Above it, she'd written in uneven letters, "My dad helps people, even when it rains." Jacob sat beside her, brushing a tear from his cheek. The storm that once took everything from him had somehow led him to a brighter sky. If this story touched your heart, if you believe that one act of kindness can truly change a life, please like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Journal. Your support keeps stories of hope alive. And before you go, take a moment to comment below. Would you risk your job to help a stranger in need? Because sometimes, the smallest choice reveals the greatest heart.